is not currently present in court, but his counsel is. My name is Scott O'Toole, on behalf of the state of Washington. I believe there's a motion on behalf of the defendant.
That's correct. Good morning, Your Honor. Katie Wallace. Your Honor, I would be asking for my client not to be shown in a full facial on any sort of camera. I believe that ID at this time is still an issue, and I would ask that only, if you want back of head, I was going to say back of body, shuffling feet, etc., I would be okay with, but I would ask that at this time that his face not be shot by a person.
Okay, I'm going to deny the motion under General Rule 16, under which open access is presumed absent compelling circumstances to outweigh that presumption. I haven't heard that.
Can I argue a little bit further, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
There's a number of, what little I know of this case, I did receive a copy of discovery on a disc just this morning. So what I've known at this point, though, is that there is conflicting information regarding identity from witnesses in this case. So I think at this time that I think that is the compelling reason to not sway anybody else's opinion as to who is the alleged perpetrator in this case. So I think that at this time, I think identity is still in question, and therefore that would be the compelling reason to, at this time at least, limit the amount of photographs that could take place at this time.
Okay, so the argument is that there could be exchange of information between witnesses. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that the general availability of a photograph would help, well, not necessarily help, but I think that would, as opposed to any sort of witness statements that have already been given in further investigation, I think it would contain any sort of further investigation in terms of identity.
Okay, state wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Your Honor, I don't think there's a plausible dispute with respect to identity. I just delivered discovery to defense counsel about 5 minutes ago. It is on a CD, so it's not capable of being reviewed in a hard copy, but that discovery indicates that there are a number of eyewitnesses, all of whom saw the defendant as he shot the victim in this case, saw the defendant get into his car, wrote down the defendant's license number and the description of the car. Police officers went to the defendant's home. The defendant was arrested. The gun was recovered during the course of the incident. The defendant asked how many times he shot the victim. I don't believe that ID is a serious, true issue in this case.
All right, in any event, I don't find that those circumstances are sufficiently compelling to rebut the presumption of open access. So for that reason, I'll deny the motion. Thank you. All right, we can bring out the defendant.
Again, this is the state of Washington versus Lovett Chambers, also known as Cedric Mann. The case number is 12-1-00939-9. Seattle. The defendant is now present in court with counsel. My name is Scott O'Toole, on behalf of the state of Washington. We are here for purposes of the arraignment. Sir, I need to ask you if your true and correct name is Lovett James Chambers.
Your Honor, at this time I'm instructing the man standing to my left not to answer that question. The man standing to my left, though, does also understand that he is being charged under such a name with the charge of murder in the first degree. Under this information, I have been provided a copy of the information.
Mr. Chambers, I'm handing your counsel a copy of the Vienna Convention and bilateral treaty notification with respect to your rights under that treaty and your rights to notification. Would ask that she acknowledge receipt and indicate whether you will sign or decline to sign.
We will acknowledge receipt of the Vienna Convention, Your Honor, and we are refusing to sign. Thank you. Or declining to sign.
Mr. Chambers, you are charged by information with the crime of murder in the first degree, said to have occurred on or about January 21, 2012, against the person of Michael Travis Hood. It is also alleged by way of special allegation that you are charged with being armed with a firearm at the time of the commission of that crime. I have previously provided a copy of the information to your counsel. Would ask that she acknowledge receipt of that, waive any further formal reading of the charges, and enter a plea on your behalf at this time.
We will do that, Your Honor. I have received a copy and we will waive any further formal reading, enter a plea of not guilty at this time.
All right, the record will so reflect.
I believe that we have this case scheduling hearing then for February 22nd, 2012.
Your Honor, I would be asking that it be set over until February 29th. I am out of the office the week of the 20th through the 24th. So that would just be for the purposes of my scheduling, if that's okay with you.
The state does not object.
And Your Honor, because we are not acknowledging the person to my left's identity, I would ask that he be able to sign for the case setting with an X.
Now, the state would also request this time an order prohibiting contact between the defendant and the family of Michael Travis Hood, any of the witnesses in this case.